We're talking with Brian Hanni. He's the voice of the Kansas Jayhawks, and many folks in the Lawrence area and KU familiar with Brian. He has been here before through the radio station at the university and also through local stations and, of course, the Jayhawk Network. And Brian, first of all, welcome home. Welcome back to Lawrence.
Thank you, Eric. It's great to be back. So thrilled to be back home and to be working at my alma mater and to get to office at 1651 Naismith Drive. That's pretty surreal.
Well, I know that obviously Bob Davis is a legend that was here for 32 years. Before that, Max Falkenstein. So you're joining a pretty exclusive club here as far as voices of the Jayhawks, and I know that you're very appreciative of the kind of situation that you've landed in.
No doubt. You know, you think about the history of Kansas basketball with the coaches we've had over the years, from the father of basketball to the father of basketball coaching. Roy Williams, Larry Brown, Bill Self, Ted Owens, obviously can't leave him out. But the point is, we've had a great lineage of coaches, and yet when you go back and look at the broadcasters, not just the two that you mentioned, and Bob and Max, but Tom Hedrick, who literally authored the book, The Art of Sportscasting, has called the first Super Bowl, the guy that's called Cincinnati Reds baseball, all that, Kevin Harlan as well. I mean, it's a star-studded list of play-by-play guys, almost comparable to what you've seen on the coaching side. Almost, not quite. And so that's obviously humbling for me to get to be a part of that, to follow in that long lineage and just try to keep the bar raised as close to where Bob and those before him set it.
You were previously the play-by-play voice of basketball and baseball at Texas Tech. So that helped to prepare you for this gig as you return home.
Yeah, you know, I'd been here at KU working on the Jayhawk Network for the better part of a decade, doing women's basketball and baseball, and I was Bob's understudy. And I did 15 men's games filling in for Bob in one capacity or another, did 4 spring football games filling in, but felt like in 2012 that it was probably going to come sometime in the next 5 years that Bob might consider retirement. And would they really hire the understudy? Or would this be an always a bridesmaid, never a bride type scenario where they didn't hire the backup? They needed somebody who was out there as his own man, his own major conference announcer. And so through a great friend in Mark Finkner, who was resigning at the time at Texas Tech, I found out about that job before it became public and had a chance to go all in on that. And God blessed me with that opportunity for 4 years. And you're right, I did grow up a ton and had a chance to really carve my niche and cut my teeth at a Big 12 institution, which I felt put me in the best possible position I could to come back home, not only because I was working on a similar platform to Bob at KU, but I was able to stay on the air in Lawrence, stay active in the Lawrence community because I was at a Big 12 school. Had I gone to a place on one of the coasts or a different conference somewhere else, I would have been out of sight and out of mind, but had a chance to stay top of mind. And I think that was key when it was all said and done.
Considering you attended KU, you were at student radio KU, how strange was it to come into this field house with Texas Tech and KU as the opponent?
It was strange. It's strange forcing yourself to not follow the energy of the crowd on a highlight call. Now, when I was working for Texas Tech, I was very much a Red Raider. I loved those kids. I loved Coach Smith and Coach Tadlock and had a blast. And so it was never an issue of, are you really pulling for KU deep down? People would ask me that question all the time. You know, I'm a Red Raider when I'm coming in here as a Red Raider announcer, and I'm hoping we win. But when you're a play-by-play guy who grew up calling games here on the student station, and really any KAB award I ever won or any accolade I ever got as a student was because I had 16,300 fans on my demo tape, and the poor guys in Colby didn't have that, or whoever I was competing against, you know, because I was at Allen Fieldhouse. So I grew up playing off that crowd. I grew up learning how to climb the ladder, as I like to say in play-by-play, with vocal inflection on the heels of a highlight dunk in which 16,000 went ballistic. Now you come in here and the crowd's rocking and they're as rabid and amazing and passionate as they've ever been, but you have to force yourself to channel it down 5 pegs or a few and really keep it contained. And I almost overcompensated sometimes for the sake of the Texas Tech fans in delivering a disappointed call when KU would do well, because I was hypersensitive to the fact that a lot of Tech fans probably thought, well, deep down he's really a Jayhawk. You know, so that took some getting used to. But you know what? 4 great years down there, and it certainly put me in the best possible position to get to come home.
Well, now you do come home to a great tradition, especially in basketball, and Coach Beatty, he's motivating the football team. So you really get a chance now to really, you know, soak yourself into this fabric here.
Absolutely, Eric. You know, I feel like this was the perfect year to come back because we're really starting to see some tangible signs of progress with football. And I know folks, they want to win yesterday, and they want to be bowl eligible this year. And if we're losing games, they want to lose by 1, not by 36 or whatever the most recent total will be. But Coach Beatty, if you're paying attention, he's getting a higher caliber athlete in here. He's getting good character kids as well. And I'll tell you what, I'm so impressed with the way he leads these young men. It's going to come. You got to crawl before you can walk. And it's obviously a situation we all know by now, the scholarship numbers that they were dealing with and how bare the cupboards were when Charlie Weiss left. And so give him time. Be a believer, because I'm telling you, I get to see it on a day-to-day basis, and this guy knows what he's doing. He's just trying to climb out of a pretty deep hole. But I say it's the perfect time because we are seeing progress there. And you look at basketball, preseason top 2 or 3 team in the country, depending on where you look. Great chance to go to Arizona and cut down nets in the spring. So I'm really blessed to come back in this particular year because we're going to have a ton of excitement throughout the winter months. And I think you're going to see progress in the fall before it's all said and done with Coach Beatty's team this year that really gets a lot of folks believing again in this being a 2-sport, dual-threat type school.
Brian Hanni, voice of the Kansas Jayhawks. Welcome back and enjoy every minute of it.
Hey, thanks so much, Eric. Pleasure to be on with you. Excited for your success, and I'll be tuning you guys in.